Hi team. In today's video, I'm going to be talking about how I support my nervous system during my period. So this video is specifically for people who menstruate that are also on a healing journey, whether that is you looking to heal from trauma or from nervous system dysregulation, burnout, chronic stress, etc. I'm going to be sharing with you what it is that I do during this time. Now, I'm not a medical professional. I'm a menstruating woman that is also a trauma-trained practitioner. So I am just sharing with you my own experience and reasons for doing things. Now, if you are experiencing a lot of pain during your menstruation or a lot of other side effects that are affecting your mental and emotional health, then please seek out the support of a doctor and a licensed medical professional to see if you can get any additional support for that. But hopefully this video is just going to provide you with some insight into how I do it, and maybe that could work for you too. As it's a trauma-informed video, even though I'm not really planning to talk about trauma today, I've got this list of things that I'm going to touch on. But if something I say does activate your nervous system, the sympathetic part of your nervous system, and you feel that you don't have the capacity, just remember that you can pause this video and return to it at any time when you're feeling more resourced to learn and to see what I have to say about these things. Now, actually, talking about trauma on and the fact that I work in somatic, so somatic, soma meaning the body. A huge part of healing from trauma is, in my experience, is building a better relationship with your body and learning how to hear what your body is trying to communicate with you and feeling what your body wants you to feel. So I came at this work not from a mental health perspective, not from a mental health angle. That's one of the reasons that I got into this, because personally I am not somebody that has experienced a lot of what I would say mental health challenges. I don't think a lot about things, but I feel a lot, and I've always felt a lot, and there wasn't enough people out there when I started that I knew about that were talking about the difference of that, and the fact that my nervous system was dysregulated, and I was having a lot of feelings, a lot of sensations, but there weren't always these accompanying thoughts to go with them. So I'm wondering how many other people that watch my channel also can relate to what I'm saying. Please let me know in the comments below if that resonates with you too. Now, I'm not saying I don't ever overthink, of course not. And I'm not saying I've never had any mental health challenges. My mental health is ebbs and flows as well, but I'm definitely a very feeling person. I feel a lot in my body. However, there was a time that due to the trauma that I had experienced, that I didn't feel connected to my body. And I talk about this in my closing sentences, and it's at the top of my website and my YouTube page, which is how I help people to get out of survival mode, restore their nervous system and reconnect with themselves. And that reconnect with themselves is really a huge part of my journey, because I felt so disconnected from myself. Even though I had a lot of feelings back then, I was feeling a huge amount of unpleasant feelings, and I didn't have the capacity. I did not know what to do with those feelings, which was extremely overwhelming, made me feel unsafe in my body. And so my healing journey and the work that I do has come through the lens of building a better relationship with my body. And so what has this got to do with my period? Understanding my hormonal cycles and my relationship to my body's hormonal cycles and how that affects how I feel and how to support myself during my monthly cycle, I cannot ignore that this is a big part of my healing work. This is part of the foundational work, along with so many other things that are also involved in healing trauma, that has just really is non-negotiable for me. Now, I'm not going to talk about menstrual cycles in this video and how that can relate to mental and emotional health. However, if you're interested in a video like that, I'd be happy to share my perspective and my experiences. So this video is just more about what I do to support myself. And I just want to re-emphasize that the relationship with my body, with my menstrual cycle, has been an extremely important contributor to me healing my trauma. So without further ado, I've got here 7 things that I have done this weekend to support me on my bleed. So the first thing that I did, is it the first thing? As the days built up to this, I began to realise that my capacity was being very quickly reduced. And how did I recognise that? Because I was feeling irritated by a lot of things. So this is often the first sign that we are dysregulating or feeling dysregulated, is that we can feel really irritable and sensitive. And we might be experiencing some of the more undesirable emotions, such as sadness and frustration and anger, or anything along those lines. So what I did was I decided to reduce my social calendar and the activities that I was doing during this time. Now, it would be great if I do track my cycle. I use an app to track my cycle. I know when my cycle is coming up. That does not prevent me, however, from booking things in and agreeing to do things during that time. However, I am really good at changing my mind and allowing myself to change my mind. So when those activities that I've booked in with people to do come up in my calendar, I will reach out to people and say, I'm really sorry, I do not have the capacity to maintain this commitment anymore. So that looked like me cancelling going for walks, cancelling going for coffee, cancelling going to the gym. I did go for dinner one evening this weekend under the agreement with my friend, who I am very open with, that we were just going to go for dinner and then we were going to go home. And she was like, yeah, I'm up for that too. Let's just go and have a nice dinner for an hour and then go. And I did walk there and walk back. It's not like I didn't do any walking, but typically I go on a 5K walk each day. And I just decided I wasn't going to do that. And that was okay. I just did not feel I had the capacity to do that. And I didn't want to meet up with people, and so I didn't. So I allowed myself to reduce my calendar and said to everybody, I will see you in a couple of days. I don't know if you can hear that. That's a parrot. My neighbour has a large parrot, and it's squawking right now. I don't know if you can hear that. I live in Vietnam, and it is a very overstimulating place to live in Hanoi, where I am, which leads me to my next point, which is reducing stimulation in my home. So after I cancelled my social activities, I set about sorting out my apartment, and I did this by I reduced the lights. So I've only got 2 lights on in my apartment at the moment, and I like to have reduced lighting most of the time anyway. but I reduced the lights, I lit a candle, I tidied my space, I reset my space. I gave myself 30 minutes or whatever to go around and to clean and freshen up the space. And when I came to sit down and relax, I also prioritized reading a book over watching something on the screen, and I put a social media blocker on my phone. I don't know if you can hear this parrot, but it is so loud. Thankfully, she doesn't squawk all day, but when she does, she goes at it. I'm going to continue, assuming that you can't hear her. So I have a social media blocker on my phone. I'm not sponsored by them or anything like that. It's called Opal. O-P-A-L. I've been using it for a few months. Because now I'm going to come on to the third point now, which is to prioritize rest. So I'm talking about that, reducing the stimulation and prioritizing rest. A lot of the time we think that, you know, just laying on the sofa and watching a movie or watching a TV show is rest, and it isn't. Unless it's still stimulation. It's sometimes we need rest from screens. We need rest from that extra stimulation that keeps everything going. And even at times, I'm very prone to putting on also TV shows and movies that I've seen many times before, because there's nothing new and there's nothing uncertain in those TV shows that my nervous system has to prepare for. And even if I do that, what I can also find as I'm like trying to downregulate to rest during my menstrual period is that I will pick up my phone instead. And so there can be something on the screen, and then I can, and now not be paying attention to that, but then I can also be on my phone doom scrolling. And even on my menstruation tracker, there is like when you can track the different symptoms that you're experiencing, it often comes up that people round about this time doom scroll a lot. Like there's times in our menstrual cycle where we're more prone to doing certain things. So to reduce the stimulation in my environment, I decided to prioritize reading a book, listening to music, and also reducing the amount of time that I was spending on social media by force, by putting this blocker in place. Now, prioritizing rest can also feel difficult at times because, well, we're just so used to being productive or proactive or social. And while I have come on leaps and bounds with allowing myself and giving myself permission to rest, there are times that I do still find it difficult. And I did again this weekend. So I had to pep talk myself into being like, it's okay to rest. It's safe to rest. This is often how you're hearing my own dialogue here. It's safe for me to rest. It's safe. It's safe for me to rest. It's safe for me to relax. It's safe for me not to do anything for an hour or two. It's safe for me to allow myself to fall asleep in the afternoon. And I have these conversations with myself when I have the internal awareness, when my interoceptive cues are telling me the opposite, that I must do something, that I'm feeling irritable, that I have to you know, find something else to do. And it's that level of self-awareness and listening to my body where I'm able to be like, okay, what do I need to do to support myself here? I just need to remind myself that it's safe for me to relax during my period. That might sound a bit wild, but this is the reality of what I do, of what I'm doing. And again, circling back to that point one about clearing my social calendar, I'm not feeling guilty about cancelling. I've explained myself to my friends. I don't mean cancelling last minute, but you know, I'm not saying be rude, but you're allowed to prioritize your own self-care and you're allowed to change your mind about things. I don't have children either, so I also have more space and grace. I appreciate that than what maybe a lot of other women do. So after the third thing, which was prioritizing rest, the fourth thing that I did this weekend was a lot of diaphragmatic breathing. And diaphragmatic breathing is similar to coherent breath work. So I've got quite a few videos on my channel about coherent breath work and how that's a non-negotiable for me. But due to the inflammation that I have in my body during my menstrual period, and I get a lot of aches and pains and cramps, I can really feel that my cortisol is up during this time. And diaphragmatic breathing is very, very similar, but you're really placing a lot more emphasis, directing your attention down into the lower part of your abdomen. And I will do like a womb breathing, so putting my both hands over my womb space, allowing myself to connect with this space, to feel the warmth of my hands on my body, and to breathe very deeply down into this space. I often do this laid down with my legs falling out to the sides. I actually tried to record a video of this over the weekend, but the tech gods weren't on my side, so that might come again in the future. But I must have done diaphragmatic breathing about 5 times over the past 3 days to help ease my cramps and to help me settle at night, and also in the morning, because I feel as well that when I wake up in the morning, when I'm on my period, that my cortisol is quite high. So I will end the day, start the day, in the middle of the day, do some diaphragmatic breathing. Very little goes a long way. I do it for 10 minutes at a time. You can do it for 5 minutes at a time. You know, you can do it for a minute at a time. But just allowing yourself to lay down, to be settled, to feel the warmth of your hands on your body, to support yourself, to connect with yourself, and to breathe deeply into the diaphragm and into the womb space is extremely nourishing and nurturing, and ultimately activates the parasympathetic nervous system. So this level of depth in the breath and the extended exhale that comes with it stimulates the vagus nerve and the parasympathetic nervous system, which is signaling to our body that we are welcoming safety, that we have the space and grace to do this exercise, and therefore it is safe for us to relax, it is safe for us to soften, as well as like it promoting blood flow into that area and helping with muscle relaxation, and just the expansion of this lower part of the abdomen as well is helping to stretch out and relieve the tension in this part of the body. Now it's not a replacement for taking medication to relieve pain. If you are my menstrual cramping, I would say, is moderate. If you are experiencing extreme pain, then you should visit a doctor and see what support you can get from a medical professional about that. But you can add in this diaphragmatic womb breathing as additional support for you during this time. The fifth thing that I did was some gentle movement. I allowed myself to do some yoga on the bed, do some mobility on my bed in my pajamas, and just allow myself to very gently, very softly, very slowly move my body. So kind of like the stuff that I do in the gym normally, but just in a very slow and reduced pace. So some hip mobility, some cat-cows, some side stretching, some twists, some turns, and again, just allowing myself to be present with my body, to feel what I'm feeling, and to just bring in that openness and make space within the body. And a lot of these exercises, especially cat-cow exercises, neck stretches, they also spinal twists stimulate the vagus nerve as well, which is the one of the most critical nerves in the nervous system that helps to promote the parasympathetic rest and digest state. So I did that for 10 minutes or so each day as well. And second to last is I prioritize eating, I'm laughing, I prioritize eating nourishing foods, whole foods. So I have eaten over the weekend a lot of cacao. I've ordered hot chocolate. I'm very lucky that there is a artisan chocolate, not factory, because that's not, what is it that I want to say? Craft? There's a chocolate place around the corner that makes handmade chocolate, and they do hot chocolate. And chocolate is full of magnesium. Dark chocolate is full of magnesium. Ooh. Dark chocolate is full of magnesium, which your body craves during your menstrual period, and it helps to alleviate tension, and it helps to alleviate cramping, etc. And I have had hot chocolate for the last 3 days, and I have then added my own extra powdered cacao into it to make it even more rich. Now, it wasn't very sweet because it was like a dark hot chocolate, but I've had that every day. I've had salmon, I've had sardines because of the omega-3s, lots of that natural fats that also help to reduce inflammation. I have drank warm water with fresh ginger. Ginger is also extremely powerful for reducing inflammation. And I've just eaten a lot of whole foods. I've had kimchi, I've had pickles, and I can't remember where I saw this. I actually ferment foods myself, but I didn't have any fermented pickles in, so I bought some. But I read somewhere on my pickling journey, it's not even pickling, fermented journey, that drinking the juice is also extremely good for you during your menstrual cycle. I don't know if that's an old wives' tale. I'll have to look into it. But I've been drinking pickle juice. I've been drinking pickle juice, as well as eating a lot of pickles, kimchi, sweet potatoes, and just whole foods to go with the salmon and the sardines, and all the chocolate. And finally, last but not least, I made a video. The last video I made was about this, which was allowing myself to feel my feelings. So while your period, it might feel like it causes emotional pain. Actually, when estrogen goes rock bottom, in order for our period to start, our bleed to begin, estrogen acts like a barrier that makes us feel more resilient and have more of a buffer between our how we really feel about things. Not how we really feel about things, but maybe the depth of those feelings, and and what we have the capacity or the desire to feel. So what I found on this menstrual cycle, which prompted me to start making these videos about being on your bleed and your nervous system, is the things that I thought that I had processed this month, and before that, some of those things came back up again in this menstrual cycle, and I found myself feeling, my emotions felt very raw. The pain that was still lingering was there. Whatever was still remaining was still there, and I allowed myself in my rest to feel that. And I spoke about this in the other video. If you are someone that is healing from trauma and you do not feel safe to feel your feelings in your body, then please find somebody like myself that's a trauma-trained somatic practitioner that can help you build the resources and the capacity in order to be able to cultivate your ability to be able to do that if you want to. I am very well resourced at feeling my feelings, and so I was able to allow myself in my downtime, in my rest period, to just feel what wanted to be felt and allow those old unprocessed, I thought I'd previously processed those things to come back up again. It was just like another opportunity for me to feel what was there, because we often judge ourselves for each. Like, we judge ourselves. We think that the journey should be this upward trajectory and we should only be getting better, and that if we've done the work around that one thing, then why do we, obviously we didn't do it good enough if it's coming up again and it's still upsetting us again. But we revisit things, we go around in circles, and things come back again for us. And the menstrual cycle is really good at doing that. It shows us the bits that we've missed or the remnants, or it gives us this opportunity to come back and revisit things and reflect on things and to feel things once again. And it's really important that if you are going to do that, that you take very good care of yourself, and that you don't judge yourself and criticize yourself for still having feelings around the things that you'd thought that you'd healed from. I think that is it. That's enough. There's probably lots more that I do. I don't think I actually said either in this prioritizing rest thing, circling back to number 3. I've also had 3 afternoon naps. Just wanted to say that. I do allow myself to sleep in the middle of the day, although it has disrupted my sleep at night, so I don't recommend that. But I have allowed myself to do that too. Anyway. If you've stuck around to the end, thank you very much. I would really love to know what you think about this video, if it resonates with you, if you've got any tips, any advice on how you take care of your nervous system during your bleed. And if you've got any thoughts, any questions, any concerns, go ahead and pop them in the comments. I'd absolutely love to hear from you. I think it's important that we have these conversations and around our cycles and our nervous system health. And if you've found it helpful, maybe you can give this video a like, subscribe to the channel, or share it with somebody else. And if you are on your healing journey and you're looking for support with that, my name is Donna Louise, and I am a trauma-trained somatic practitioner, a functional breathwork coach, a clinical EFT practitioner, and also a trainee counsellor. And I help people to get out of survival mode, to restore their nervous system, and to reconnect with themselves. Thank you very much for watching this video, and I look forward to seeing you again very soon. Until then, take good care.